Okay, so it looks like we are up on
Yeah, we're live on
link.
YouTube and Facebook.
Okay, let's see if LinkedIn's up. Hey, what's up, Lindsay and Brad? I guess Brad did come around today.
Yeah, Brad messaged me,
Okay,
so I think he's going to be around,
and
which is
we're up
great.
on LinkedIn. So
Lindsay, how are you?
I've got
See you
that
on
covered.
Facebook. I'm watching Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So let me share it over on Facebook, and then I'm getting off. I'm getting off of Facebook. Well, not really getting off of it, but moving away from it.
Yeah. Let me share this sucker right here.
Um, whoops, I don't want to be here. I want to be in the Wirecast one. Hey, long time no see, Lindsay and Brad. Yeah, we've been kind of slammed. I know I've been slammed with VBS and all my other extracurricular things that I've got going on. My son just started soccer, so
Oh boy.
yeah. My wife takes him to practice every Tuesday and Thursdays right now.
Hey, Joanne, Lindsay. I know Brad's around.
You guys, this is a good show that you're tuning in for, and I
Oh
encourage you
yes.
guys to share it out because a lot of you guys have stated about Marty's clean key. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of that today and show you how to do that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I got a little behind this. I got a second camera today, so you get to see the behind the scenes how crazy it looks.
Okay, what else do I got to do here? I got to go to that.
Oh, get Volk. Oh, someone posted
I
this.
just put it in Get Vocal, and then
Yeah.
is the Pro Broadcasting, is that a group that we have, or is it a page?
Yes, that's group.
Might as well throw it there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Hey, Sandra McKenna.
see if the folks, and even there's nobody on LinkedIn yet. What do we got, Brad?
Okey-doke.
What's Brad saying? Yeah, I know you guys always hang out. Sometimes it's really late at night. I mean, like I got a message last night. It was like 1:45, and I was like, I was like, not after this day. I can't come in. It's too late. I was dragging butt last night. There was no way.
I'm asleep by then. That's way past my bedtime.
So the video on Vocal, we're doing something a little different. It looks like Vocal took away the ability to do virtual camera, and I don't know if it's because they
Oh,
have an
really?
issue with it. Well, it could be because they have an issue with it, which everybody's been like Mr. Wonderful's even saying the video is a lot better in here. I hope the audio and video sync is in. I didn't have a chance to
Hmm.
test it, and I am pulling it through as the embedded audio from the SDI. So it's possible they could even hear us talking when the intro runs. So it is what it is on Vocal. Um,
Yep.
so hopefully it's in sync. But so you're getting a direct feed through a capture card. So that's the way I have it sent to it. So hopefully, well, let's do a
Ah,
test real quick, guys, on Vocal.
okay.
This won't affect anybody else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send the intro live and then turn it off. See if you can hear Marty and I talking over it. They were able to
Oh, that's a
hear
good
us.
test.
Yep. Okay. So, what if we do this? If I change the audio settings, that's why. Check, check, check. All right.
Check.
All right. Can you guys hear us? You guys can hear us on Vocal, right? We're going to do another test
All right.
because I think I can solve this pretty quick. If
Ooh,
it,
troubleshooting live.
Hey, there you go. That's what we do. Well, when you're going to so many different platforms, they should be able to hear
Right.
us now. Are they able to hear
Yep.
us? That's the question.
Can you hear us on vocal?
Okay. All right, Brad. So here we go.
Just the intro.
All right. Were you just hearing just the intro, or were you able to hear us talking? Might take a little bit to catch up. No talking. You just heard the intro. Good. Beautiful.
Ooh,
Problem solved.
you are the master.
It's all about the audio source. Hey, that's why I said that might be a quick fix if we can get it going. So now
Right.
they should be pulling a direct SDI feed through Wirecast to Vocal. I'm not using virtual microphone. I'm going straight in just to kind of bypass any kind of latency. So hopefully audio and video should still be in sync on Vocal. We'll have to see. But
So you're just taking the embedded SDI coming in.
that's what I'm
from a
using as the
capture
audio,
card.
and then SDI as the video source.
So how are you doing that? So that takes it, so Vocal
Using
will
the
take that as a
Magewell.
source.
Yeah, Vocal will use the Magewell as a source.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So Lindsay says it looks okay. So cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you guys over on LinkedIn, I see there's 9 of you there watching. Today we're going to be talking about Marty's green screen setup. He's going to walk us through it. A lot of you guys have asked how to get a clean green screen setup. A lot of you have stated how you like the way it looks. So that's going to be our topic for today. So hopefully you guys stick around and you kind of get to see. It's just Marty and I today. Jeff had some other obligations today that he had to attend to, but he should be back next week. But it's a lot of show and tell today.
Yeah, some good. Yes, that's a good way to put it. Show and tell. Some good do's and don'ts with green screen. The green screen. It's funny. That's of all the questions we get. Right, we get that all the time about the green screen.
Oh, no, I'm not
Everyone
laughing
wants
about
to-
that. Gabe's putting in the chat room over here on Vocal. He's like, so if we got time, can we talk about the Tandy? I'm not buying the Tandy.
The what?
It's a long running inside joke. Every time I see Gabe, he does this eBay hustle where he buys things and resells them.
No.
He's got this
Right.
Tandy unit from like the 80s or something like that. And
Oh, one of those. The computer.
no, it's a
Oh,
little device, and he keeps trying to get me to buy it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like $8 or something like that. But it's like, what am I gonna do
Jeez.
with this thing? You know?
Oh man.
Hey, Curtis over on LinkedIn, how you doing, man? Curtis Brooks, nice to see you. We have a good time. So, if you guys are watching this and you hear us refer to different people, there's different people on different platforms that are watching it. So, Marty and I are doing our best to keep up with this.
Yes. Hello, RV and Jim on Facebook. I'm watching
Awesome.
Facebook, by the way. So.
Oh yeah.
You're
So Marty's
Facebook,
on
I'm gonna
Facebook.
Try to. Yes. So hopefully I keep an eye on this chat. It's right here on my computer down here. So if I'm looking this way.
Let's also preface
ahead.
this, Marty. Going into the show here, we got a few seconds here. This is not just a Wirecast tip for this. If you're using green screen, these are tips that you can use no matter what platform you're using, no matter what piece of hardware software you're using. Wirecast, in my opinion, has probably one of the best chroma keys that are out there right now. And I've tried a lot of the different competition that's out there. And I'm not just saying that because I work for the company. It's tried and true. I've seen it year in, year out, and I think you agree with that. So by all means, you can go out and buy Wirecast and have a phenomenal key. But let's say you don't have that. These tips you're going to be able to use and utilize for practicality going forward. And we have something really cool we want to bring out to our viewers to kind of help you guys. I
love surprises.
It's a brand new segment we'd like to do on future shows. So make sure you stick around after the intro because we're going to get to that. You remember what we talked about.
I know what it is.
It's going to be very, very cool. So this is something Marty, me, and Jeff have talked about, and we really want to do it. We think you guys are going to love it, and it's going to be a great way for you to get involved with the show. So that's going to be coming up here in just like 60 seconds here when we do the intro and get this baby rolling.
That's called a tease in the business.
Right on there, baby. Right on there. Hey,
Hello,
it's Thursday.
Amanda.
I look at Thursday as our hump day, right? It's
Robin Joel.
going down toward the weekend, getting ready for the weekend. So I'm going to start the vocal recording here only because, wow, it didn't do a countdown that time on vocal. Okay. It just said connecting, connecting, boom. Hey, guess what? You're now live. Um, so we're going to go dark here, and we're going to get this baby rolling, and we'll see you guys just in a few. So stick around. Let's do this and go dark. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of On Social. I'm your host, Stephen Haywood, along with my partner in crime and co-host, Mr. Marty McPadden from Podjam.tv. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's almost the weekend, and we're not sitting in that blazing heat that we were last week, even
Oh
though
my goodness.
people didn't know that. But so today I thought was going to be really cool because we're going to talk about the app that everybody's been doing that's turning you old and allowing you to put that. No, I'm just kidding, people. Don't tune out. We're not going to talk about the iOS app that makes you look like an old person. That was the buzz last week. Everybody was out downloading this app and, you know, trying to make themselves look like they're in their 80s and not. Why would you want to do that? Just why? Anyways, we're going to talk about something that's really relevant, something that you guys can use in your everyday broadcasting that has nothing to do with that. We're going to talk about green screening today and green screen setup, and Marty has received a lot of compliments about that. But Marty, first, we want to introduce a new segment that we hope to start maybe in the next couple weeks. And a lot of users have been posting comments of how to do this, how do I do this? So what we want is we want you guys to go out and do a quick video. It could be, 2 to 3 minute video, okay, of your setup in your studio. It doesn't matter what you're using or how you're doing it. Talk about what you're doing. Ask us things that you think you can improve on, and we can go through and dissect your video. We'll go through and look at it. And here's the other cool part, Marty. This was even the cooler part. The product manager of Wirecast wants to see these videos. They want to see the workflow. Lynn over at Telestream wants to see the workflow that the customers are using with Wirecast. She wants to see these workflows of these video gurus that are out there in hopes to even make Wirecast a better product. So you guys out there, you want to get involved in the show, you have a studio set up, or you're not quite sure how to do it, or maybe you just want to get on cam and say, hey, guys, I want to do this. This is my room. How do I do it? Marty, myself, and Jeff will take a look at that video, and we'll do it live. We'll have it live. We might even be able to get you on as a caller, as a guest, to kind of walk us through your setup, or we can just do it through the video. And we'll go over it in the last 10 minutes of the show and look at it and say, there's certain things that you're doing good, but there's certain things that you could improve on. So if that's something you want to do, send me an email, stephen.h@telestream.net. Upload it to Dropbox, whatever your favorite place to upload files. Send me a link. I'll make sure Marty gets it and Jeff gets it, and we'll download it. We'll take a look at it, and we'll showcase it on the next shows, going forward. So we really want to see it. We want to, Marty, right? We want to be able to help you guys out there.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a great idea. We were discussing this past couple of weeks, and just ways to get. You guys have been great so far. We're 10 episodes in, just trying to find ways to get people more engaged and engaged with the show, and also answer the questions that you want answered. And it's just a great opportunity. I mean, everyone has a video camera. If you're doing live video, you have a camera. And it's just a great way to address certain issues that you might be having in your studio or your setup. And I can guarantee you one thing: if it's an issue you're having, there's probably 10 other people having the same issue. So it's a good point of discussion. We can help each other. and just improve and see what's going right, see what needs to be improved. And I mean, Stephen, you and I have done plenty of troubleshooting ourselves on various things. So think of it as like kind of a group troubleshooting and
Yep.
help session with video. I mean, we're all, this stuff is changing all the time. So any kind of help that we can do and addressing actual situations, actual setups is what we want to do and get you guys more involved. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's out there, what problems people are having, and how we can address it.
Yeah, and I almost forgot to say, you can also ping us on Facebook. I mean, if you're friends with Marty or myself, send him a message, shoot him a PM, and say, "Hey, here's a link to my video. I put it up on YouTube or I put it up on Facebook or whatever." And I want you guys to take a look at this during the show. We want to showcase it on the show. We want to walk you through it. We want to see, or maybe it's something that you just want to show us. Like it works perfectly fine. You think it's fantastic. Maybe it's something we can learn by looking at your setup. We don't have all the answers, but we have done our fair share of troubleshooting and our days of broadcasting where you just want to pull your hair out. So that's something we want to do for you guys. We think it's going to be awesome. We had a couple people that gave us some good feedback. Said, "Yeah, man, it sounds really cool. Let's do it." So if you're out there, do a little video. It doesn't have to be really long, and let us know about it, and we'll get it up here. And Marty, I think it's gonna open some new doors for folks to get some help, much needed help, and they don't have to be somebody that's just using Wirecast. They could be. I mean, we're pretty versed in a lot of the different broadcasting solutions out there, so
Mhm.
it's a great way to help the community here and as industry leaders that we are, right?
Absolutely. Anything with live streaming, video production, and I like how you just said you might be doing something, or you might come across a tip that you're using that you may want to share with the community. It doesn't always have to be, oh, I'm running into this issue. It could be something, oh, I discovered this, and I'm using this as a certain workflow. It may help other people, and certainly send those videos in as well because they can really not only the community we can learn too, but everyone else that watches the show can learn as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what people have, and I think it's a great idea for a new segment.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome. So, again, we just want to iterate this. During the show, we talked about this last week, but this is not a Wirecast specific show, so you can bring your broadcast questions. If you do need assistance with Wirecast, the great folks over at Telestream, they're more than happy to help you. And we're thrilled that Telestream has gotten behind this and is a sponsor of this and promotes this broadcast, allows us to do this every week on their page and it's a great way. Even though I work for the company, it's still great that we're able to come on here, Marty, and talk about video on social media because that's the new wave. Every business, if you haven't gathered that information yet, every business needs to be doing live video on social media in some way, shape, or form or capacity, and even get the recorded content up there. You need
Exactly.
you need some kind of video presence up there on the web. If you're not doing it, your competitor is doing it, and if they're doing it, they're reaching a lot more people. And one of the things I read in an article one time was, think about the man hours that you're going to save when you can go live for your company, do a presentation about a product, and think about how many man hours you're going to lose if you had to meet with that particular customer for an hour. Let's say 80 people show up to your live stream. That would be 80 man hours that you're saving by doing an hour broadcast or a webinar or
Mhm.
whatever it is. So just take that into
Yep.
consideration. Just let that sink in for a second. You're saving your company money by doing a live broadcast that you're opening up to the world for the world to come in and potential customers. So with that said, Marty's going to take us through a little bit about his background. Obviously, is in live video. You guys see this beautiful backdrop that he has. You're going to be surprised to see that he's not sitting in the
Oh boy.
studios of NBC and CBS and any other place, but he's actually in his home office.
That is true, Steven. So, yeah, I mean, this is the background I use. So I look like I'm in this fancy control room with millions of dollars worth of equipment. I got the nice lighting. I look really good. Got the microphone, all that stuff. But in actuality, I'm using a technology that you all probably have heard of called green screen or green screen referring to the backdrop that I use. But the actual technology is called chroma key. meaning that it keys out or keys out a certain chroma or color and allows me to show what's behind me. So just to kind of give you another view of what the studio actually looks like, I'm going to switch to a different shot, set up a second camera today, and this is what the studio actually looks like. So I'm sitting here live. You could see behind me. Now I run two lights. I got one light up here. This is my key light. This is the only light I use in front. Now, and I'll get into why I do it. I just have the two lights, but it's not necessarily the ultimate setup. But this is my key light. This light back here is my backlight. This also lights my hair, so it gives me a little bit of a halo effect. But this lights the backdrop. And then you can see behind me is my backdrop and my green screen. The green screen, if I reach back, I'm about an arm's length away from the green screen. And that's also very important too. One thing that you do not want to do, and let me switch to a different shot here. I'm going to switch to a multi-shot here so you can see. So the inset is my studio, and then what you see as a result is what you're seeing on the main shot. But as you can see, I'm reaching back here, and I can just about touch my green screen. And why that's important is lesson number one is when you do a green screen, you want to be at least an arm's like you don't want the light that's shining on your backdrop to be bleeding over to you, or this light to be bleeding, or you want the light two lights to be lighting two different things. So this front light here is lighting my face and the front of the set. The rear light here is lighting just really the backdrop, and it spills a little bit over to my hair, so you see that separation between the backdrop and the top of my head, and that kind of gives it some dimension. That's another little tip there. You'll see this in portrait studios. Well, they'll use hair lights. Well, they'll be above the head and they'll put it on a boom. Mine's a lot simpler. Now, I would normally wouldn't recommend a two light setup. I get away with it. I make sure my setup is good. But normally what I would normally do is, and let me switch to my other shot here. Normally what I would do is my key light here, I would have a fill light on this other side here, right in this area here where that camera is coming in. So the key light is the strongest light, 100% brightness. The fill light would be about 50%, and that's just to kind of fill in the shadow on the other side. And it also, the reason why you'd have it at about 50% is you want it to drop off the face. You want it to give it a little dimension. My lighting, if I switch back to my main shot, my lighting is fairly flat in the front, so it's fairly even. If you really were doing it properly, and eventually I like to add some more lighting just to give it more dimension, but I would have it on this side here, this side of my face, I would have a half power fill light. And just to give it a little dimension, you see a little shadow there, that's that kind of portrait lighting. The other thing is, again, on your backdrop, all right, the backdrop that you use, the reason why we use green or you see green used is normally that's a color that doesn't normally appear naturally in your shot. Normally, you're not wearing clothes that are that kind of like that weird green color. And again, the function of that green screen is in the software or in the hardware switcher that you're using. What it's doing is, and the reason why it's called chroma key is it's basically determining, okay, it's keying on that green color. Anything that is that green color is being cut out or keyed out. That's why I call it chroma key. Keyed out of the chroma or keyed out of that particular color. So around my head, and you see this on the main shot, everything around me that's not that color green is showing through. Anything that is that color green is being keyed out or becomes transparent. And then behind this shot, and I'm using Wirecast, by the way, to do all this. I have a Wirecast gearbox, which is a special piece of equipment from Telestream. That's a specially designed PC. It has Wirecast Pro pre-installed on it. So I'm using Wirecast for the key. But anything that is that green color is transparent, and whatever's behind it in the shot, in this case, in fact, you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set this up live. I don't have this set up right now, but if you bear with me,
Sure.
I am going to set up a shot.
Well, while you're setting that up, can you go to
Yep.
can you go to that wide shot that you have? I want to kind of put something out there too.
Sure.
Your non-green screen shot. Okay, so while he's building that other shot for you guys, he's got the 2 lights there. Some of you guys may be in confined spaces. Marty's at least got an arm's distance away, and what happens is people sit too close to that, and like Marty stated, you're going to get some spill. One of the ways I've seen and done this to overcome it is I put using the 3-point lighting system that Marty's talking about. Instead of putting like a key or fill light in between the lights, I put it down on the floor, shooting up like at the 4 o'clock position, on toward the back, and it helps diffuse that green off the back of the subject, the back of the head. Sometimes, depending on again how close you get, you might have to put two and go with like a 4-point, one on each side of the person, kind of like in an angle. But usually 3-point will work. And I've done that because of the type of room that you're in. Now, Marty, it looks like you've got high ceilings, so so somebody that's maybe not with such high ceilings, they're gonna have to play around with their lighting, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, I've got probably 10-foot ceilings. It's an older house, 10-foot ceilings in here, so I got plenty of room to have the lighting come up, and have the light poles. But it doesn't have, I have a window, and the other challenge I have is I have an open window over here that shows light in. So you have to be aware of that, how it affects your lighting. But going back to my other shot, if you see in the inset here, um, you'll notice that the green screen is not full width. It's really just the width of the shot I have. So if I switch to my main shot here, you'll notice that my main shot is fairly confined. And so if I go outside, see, you can see my arms get cut off. I'm not sure, maybe not. I think
Yeah.
the way I have it set up,
Yeah.
you're not seeing it cut off, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So it just has to be the green screen itself, just has to be the width of what you want keyed out. So if you're like, this is a fairly narrow green screen. So as long as you're not, some people crop it in, or sometimes you'll see, like, what I could do is I could set up a shot where I'm very much farther away, or I'm down in the bottom of the screen. And I can just crop out the part that I need, and then the rest of it shows through. And I'm not going to demonstrate that now, but it just had the green has to be behind you or what you want keyed out. And on my shot, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to my main shot and I'll show you what I mean. Let me go and see if I can shut down
And while you're doing that,
my.
Carl in the LinkedIn chat room says, "Hey, Home Depot sells bare interior flat paint, which is extremely close to chroma green." And then he gives the number S-G-430, sparkling apple flat, low odor interior paint part number, and he gives the part number. It's part number 1300001. Um, so if you can also paint. Absolutely. It has to be flat, just like you're seeing Marty here when I go here.
Right.
There's no gloss on his back, even though it's
Yep.
fabric.
Yep. It's sort of like that. The fabric that I'm using is sort of like a felt fabric. And what I like about this particular setup is it's portable. It has 3 poles. In fact, let me just put my chroma key back on and switch it in. There we go. If I go to this wide shot here, you'll notice that the way that it's set up, it's a portable green screen system. So on the very bottom, what you can't see is a tripod stand. And on top there, it's 3 poles, one here, and one in the middle there. And they just pop in, and then just string up the thing. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly flat, but the flatter you can make the green screen, the better. You don't want a lot of creases, because the lighting will tend to pick that up, and you'll tend to get tearing in your key. But as flat as you can make it without wrinkles is better. And also the important part is, as even as you can make the light, the better. Normally, what I would suggest is like Steven, I think you were mentioning some uplighting to even out the lighting is
Mm-hmm.
a good idea. The key is you probably have to use a couple of lights on your green screen. If you can get a light above the greens, like coming over the top and shining down on the green screen, or something like here. Again, my setup is not optimal. I'm not endorsing my setup. I'm lucky I got it dialed in. I'm using 2 lights. It's not normally what I would recommend for green screen. Again, I would recommend the 2 lights here, probably a hair light, and at least 2 lights on the green screen, one on either side, just to even it out. But that's a key too. And depending on the software or the hardware switcher that you're using, that also determines the quality of the green screen. Now, I'm lucky. I'm using Wirecast, and you can see here that the quality of the green screen just with 2 lights is pretty good. I mean, again, not optimal a setup, not a recommended setup that I would normally use, but the key is pretty clean. I'm not getting a lot of tearing. So I'm really impressed with the quality that I'm getting out of Wirecast as far as the actual key goes, the cutout goes. The other thing I will say is, you want to avoid when you're doing this. You want to avoid wearing obviously a color that competes with your green screen. And I think Stephen, you mentioned someone in the chat mentioned getting green paint, which you can definitely do.
Right.
It doesn't have to be any particular shade of green. Green is again used because it's not normally a color you would see in your frame or wearing that color, so it's not normally going to compete. But it's and sometimes you'll see like lots of times you'll see blue screens, like these weird blue color screens. Again, kind of a strange color. It's not normally seen in naturally occurring, and that's the key. Is that you want to be able to key on a color that's not going to appear someone. Now I wish I had something green I could show you that if I held up something the same color, you'd see right through it, and that's kind of you get those weird effects. But that's what you want to avoid. You could see I'm wearing something that's not going to compete. My color shirt is like a gray color shirt. It has a pattern, but doesn't compete with the green screen. And I get a nice key. Notice another thing, I'm not waving my arms around too much because I don't want to give up. Like the key, like sometimes if you go and have too quick a motion, you can see the green kind of going through. So I try to keep it, steady, so that I keep the illusion up, So I know what I'm working with here. I'm working with just 2 lights, so I'm not going to push it as far as the look of it goes. But again, it's all about the illusion. If I go back to this shot here, you'll notice in the studio, and I'm sure how many people's studios look like this, where it's all like, where it's all, it's not the neatest place in the world. I got an open window. I got a box, my Wirecast gearbox back there. I got junk over here. I got my PC tower over here. I got junk all over the place. Who cares? Because nobody's going to see it. All they see is this shot here. If I switch to my main shot, that's my main shot. They think I'm in, people think, oh, I'm in a really cool studio. It's all about the illusion, right? And the beauty about green screen is you can see you have one backdrop, and then whatever you decide to put in back of you can change it up. Like I can show, I'm showing this control room setup, but I can show whatever I want back there, Steven. I can show like,
Oh yeah.
over the shoulder. I can show, if I had slides, if maybe I'm doing a webinar, what I would do is I would set the shot that I have here where the insert, what I would do is I would set up a similar shot where maybe I would make myself smaller in the insert or just use the key. And in the background, instead of a control room, maybe have slides. If I'm doing a webinar, you can do your slides. Sometimes you'll see this on streaming services like Twitch. People that stream video gaming, what they'll do is they'll use a piece of OBS or Wirecast or some piece of software that they'll have themselves, and they'll use a green screen, and you'll see them small down in the corner with their game controller, and the main part of the screen is the actual game. And that's how they're using the green screen technique to be able to get themselves in there. And again, they're adjusting the size of their shot. So when you're building your shot, it's a layered shot. And folks that do this, you can know that you build it in layers. So my top layer is my main camera. The top layer in this shot is the insert. So it's going over my main camera. My main camera comes second. And the third layer is that control room video that you see looping.
And And I think there's something else with that. If you can go back to your green screen shot with the lighting.
Sure.
So if anybody's ever wondered, you go to these websites a lot of times and there's a video that pops up, or you see, a video where the person's walking you through their website. A lot of times they have a green screen that the person's standing in front of that they're recording, like Marty said with the screen capturing. They're screen capturing the website and walking it through as the person's talking about it, just like the weather people do. So you're getting a full body green screen. And another thing to take notice of with the lighting, you notice he doesn't have the light bulbs pointing at himself. He's using the reflection off the umbrella to light himself evenly. There's so many times I've seen people make the mistake, they turn those umbrellas the other way, and they don't get the nice even light or even that much light out of it. So that's something else to keep in mind, that how to properly use these types of lights and soft boxes and things, and you're going to have to adjust them based on your room, right?
Right. And again, and the kind of the neat thing we're showing here is this is about these lights where I think I paid like less than $50, and I have two other lights. I have two smaller lights that are on floor stands that you can use as up lights for your background. I have them in back of the green screen. So when we use that the beige curtain back there, sometimes I use that as a backdrop if I don't want to set up the green screen. And I have two up lights to give it some dimension. That's another little trick. So this light setup was 4 lights. I just actually just used 2 of them here. Um, I like the soft boxes a lot. For those of you getting new lights, I love using. I think soft boxes are really the way to go. In fact, when I upgrade this set, I'll probably go to soft boxes. But again, we're kind of proving the fact that you don't need a lot of money. You don't need to get the most expensive set. These are very inexpensive lights. They're just basic white umbrellas with actually one fluorescent bulb in each fixture. Some fixtures you can get multiple bulbs and you get a brighter light. But for my setup, it's probably the bare minimum that I got, and I still get a decent shot. As you can see on my chroma key shot right here, I got a decent result, and ultimately that's the only thing that matters. Stephen, we've talked about like your setup, and we talked about using the can lights, the Home Depot style lights.
Hmm.
They're not expensive. And again, it doesn't matter what you use. It matters what the result that you're getting in the frame, and
Yeah.
we use some crazy setups. And if it works, it works. That's the
And
bottom
and
line.
I noticed Marino in the chat room was asking if you have a link, an Amazon link to your umbrella lights, if that's something maybe you could share with them after the show's over, if you have a
Sure.
link to them. But you're looking at under $100 for something like that, and it
Oh
even
yeah.
probably comes with the tripod for the green screen. So um, most of the time,
Oh,
these are pretty.
I can put the
Go
yeah, I
ahead.
can put the link to the green screen. There's a couple of different choices, but yeah, I love this green screen. It's just in fact, let me just switch my shot. It's just a felt type fabric with these eyelets here, and they just hook in. The three poles, they come out, everything folds up, it goes in a bag they can carry. It's very easily portable. So if you're doing work, say if you're doing broadcast work as a profession, they need a green screen on the road. Not only does it work in a studio, but it's very easily portable. You can take it on the road and you're ready to rock. But I can certainly post the link. I got it from Amazon a few years ago, and I can certainly post a link.
And
That's
there's
not
a
an
lot of
issue. And also
similar ones out there. So I mean,
exactly,
you know,
exactly.
what one thing
Yeah.
you touched on that I want to reiterate before we have to wrap is making sure you get that screen as tight as you can or as flat as you can. I've seen so many people say I get a terrible chroma key, but you look at their green screen, it looks like they pulled it out of their suitcase that they've been traveling with for the last month. You can't do that. One of the things that you can do, and my wife did with my green screen, we tacked it to the wall, we stretched it out the best we could, and then she got some of that spray, that wrinkle spray that you can get when you're traveling, and she sprayed it down with that wrinkle spray, and the wrinkles just vanished because obviously you're not going to iron it on the wall. So we stretched it out
Right.
and got it as tight as we could. And if I show you the green screen that's tacked to the wall, there's not one wrinkle on it. And that's, when you're using less than sufficient light, that's where you're really going to notice if the green screen is flat or not. Because if you're not using the right amount of light, which I often do because of the way my setup is, um, I can get away with one light because I made sure all the wrinkles were out of it. I've gotten it flat against the wall, and I'm sitting closer, and different things like that help with it. Um, but do yourself a favor, and like Marty said, make sure you get those wrinkles out because they're going to cast shadows, and they're going to give nothing but a headache no matter what platform, the hardware, whatever you're using the chroma key, you're going to have a problem. That's across the board. You're going to have a problem. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I love the tip. I think it was posted earlier in Facebook or one of the platforms. The person that was getting the paint, the green color paint. And if you're in a studio, if you're like in a home studio or studio situation where you can kind of devote a corner or a room or a wall, that's a great way to go because that eliminates the wrinkle issue. And you also can set up your lighting permanently. If you're in that situation, that's a great way to go. And you can always put something in front But that would eliminate that situation. And also, you could more easily dial in your lighting. And again, Stephen, there's so many different ways to do this. The portable way, using green paint. And the key is reiterate, and you said it very well with not getting the wrinkles in, is you want a nice even surface. And the reason why you want it even is you want the color to be even. You don't want
Hmm.
bright hot spots or dark spots. And that way, because when you put the key on, and in Wirecast, you can actually had this like dropper tool where you select the color, and it actually keys in there, automatically sets all the settings, and it works pretty well. I rarely have to do any other adjustments,
Hmm.
just on the color, and as long as you have a nice even light, it usually handles it pretty well, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you're going to have to play around with. And again, it's not something you're just going to be able to slap up and make it work. You have to fine tune it. You have to play around with it. You got to judge your room. Like, I don't have the 10-foot ceilings like Marty has. My ceilings are about 7.5 feet. So I have less to work with. So there's even some areas of my studio, it's less than that. It's about 6.5 feet. So I have to work within those constraints. So you can make a good chroma key. You just have to understand how the feature works. And I think Marty, you did a fantastic job explaining that. And there's different ways of doing it. You can get like he said, the light. There's like a bluish color, which is not a standard blue that you would wear in a shot. So, you can take a look at those. I've done it with orange, like a bright hunter's orange, because unless you're doing a hunting show, you're not really
Right.
wearing that bright hunter's orange. So you can chroma key stuff like that. So it's one of those things where trial and error, but you see what Marty did, and gosh, I wish Jeff was here. He could show his setup, but I guess we'll have to do that
Oh,
for
yeah.
another time. But you know,
When he's on next time, we should have him show his setup, hopefully give him some heads up. That would be great to see, because everyone does it a little bit differently. Mine's pretty simple and
yeah.
pretty stark. It's not complicated. But, I know Jeff has a permanent studio that he works from, so that you'd be interested to see
Yeah.
his setup too.
And for those that are asking, this is available in all versions of Wirecast. There's 3 different flavors of Wirecast. In fact, I can pull up the website here for those of you've heard us talking about Wirecast through this broadcast. This is the flavor of software that Marty's using and we're using here to encode the show. So there is a multitude of versions. So we have a $250 version, which is the Wirecast 1, which you can do chroma key on. And then there's the Wirecast Studio, which also you can do chroma keying on for $449, and then you have the Wirecast Pro at $699. Now, with that, not only do you get that, but you can pay for the premium support where you can talk to a live tech if you want to talk to somebody on the phone, or you can keep the standard support, which gives you a year of email support. Plus, it also gives you the ability to do upgrades for free. So if you recently purchased it, maybe you're on an older version, you get all that. You get the green screening, everything. You get the callers to be able to have a guest like I'm doing right now with Marty. So there's a lot of different functionality. And again, this isn't a Wirecast troubleshooting or support show, so we won't get in there. But go to the website, check it out. You can email the folks over at Telestream. They're happy to answer any questions over at the sales department that you have. You can download a free trial, give it a go. And so you can start taking your video to the next level here on social media. Marty, I think that's the best way to do it. Trial and error. Get out there, do it,
Yep.
and see what kind of results that you're going to get, and send your setup in. We can take a look at it and see if we
Yes.
can
I'm
help you
looking
out with
forward.
it.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marty McPadden from podjam.tv. You guys can go follow him on Facebook, ask him to be a friend, and just look up Marty McPadden. I'm sure he wouldn't mind connecting with you guys. We're also all over the place in the different Wirecast broadcast forums that are out there. So you'll see us. Feel free to hit us up. Guys, next week we should be back with Jeff, hopefully, and we have another great topic for you guys. I know coming up at the end of August, Marty, one of the questions that came up was we want to see some road shows, and I know you're going to be going on the road shortly, but we also have a great friend of mine from Live U that's going to join us on one of the episodes toward the end of August to talk about what do you do when you have an area that's bandwidth
Nice.
challenged out in the road and you want to take your switcher, your Wirecast system, whatever it is that you're using, have live production from an area that's bandwidth challenge, and he's going to come on and talk about how his solution will work for you guys. So that's coming up later. I believe it's the end of August that show is going to be on. So make sure you guys mark your calendars. You don't want to miss that. We've got a lot of great shows coming up, and also obviously going over your workflows. Let's get those workflows in because we'd love to see them and love to assist any way that we can, if possible. So, guys, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. We had a great time here. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week for more on social.